Robby Gordon's NASCAR career spans a period of 17 years. He's a 3-time winner in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. He also raced Indy cars, open-wheel cars, and off-road trucks. The driver of the Monster Energy Toyota.
Got a lot of sevens out there in the audience. Look at there.
We got sevens.
Hey, Rob.
Hi, how are you, buddy?
All right, buddy.
Good.
Man, what did you do to these people?
Hey, I think you gave them some Monster Energy drink.
They must have. They're kind of jacked up out there tonight.
See what a couple monsters will do?
These are your people, aren't they?
I brought my own monsters.
Well, I know one thing you accomplished, aside from you qualifying 16th, you became a multi-car team here for this weekend. Both cars in the show. P.J. Jones qualified.
Yeah, you know, 16th is, or 17th or 16th?
16th.
16th,
yep.
You know, okay. Very, very, very conservative. After watching Marcus and a bunch of other guys, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to go out there and not put a wheel wrong. And if we can qualify inside the top 20, we can win the race.
Yeah.
The problem is if you qualify much farther back than where I'm at, you're going to struggle. And if it doesn't take much to do that, one tire hop, one lockup, and you find yourself sitting there in the back. So, you know, heck, just in turn one alone, I lost 4/10, and then everything else was kind of smooth from there. I was just a little too conservative.
You know, Robbie, there was a time when we came to these road courses and we said, you know, you got Robby Gordon and you got everybody else. But lately, you've struggled with the road courses. Why? What is it that you're missing that you need that you don't have?
I don't know. I remember last year leading the race when the caution came out, so I wouldn't say we struggled. You know, once it comes time to go racing, we're fine. You know, we spent the first half of the session working on race setup. That was probably a mistake for qualifying today. We probably should have just went for it full bore, you know, qualify, get in there, try to be on the pole, and go from there. But you know, we said if we work on race setup and get kind of a simulated race setup run, that's going to help us for tomorrow morning, which will eventually help us for Sunday when it really counts.
Yeah, let me just say this real quick to follow up a little bit. I think strategy is probably, I know I've listened to you like 2 times out here I can remember. You had this thing.
I need to pit.
Yeah. And strategy seems to has been your Achilles heel. Have you figured that out?
Well, about the time we've got enough fuel mileage with my Toyota, we'll figure that out. And sure enough, if we do that, they'll do 3 attempts at a green-white checker and half the field will run out of fuel, and I'll be one of them. So, you know, it's how do you know? You know, we're gonna play the play when it comes time. But I think you know, we are thinking about those 3 attempts, because if we get 1, you're gonna get 3 here at the road course.
More than likely.
Oh yeah, I agree totally.
Robby, I noticed a couple years ago, you and I were talking, I was looking at your race cars, and I was very impressed with the workmanship. Your organization builds some of the finest looking race cars. Again, we know how fast they can go, but at the same time, you take a lot of pride in building top-notch equipment.
Well, that's, you know, a lot of people always say, well, why do you drive for yourself? And it's like, I like building cars, and I like building our own race cars and competing against the best teams in the business. And that's why we just started the speedfactory.tv, so that the fans can go in there and really see what we do behind the scenes and really see what goes on at Robby Gordon Motorsports. And I think it'll be more informative to what really happens behind the scenes in NASCAR, because the race happens on Sunday, but there's just as much race getting to next Thursday to head to Loudon, New Hampshire. You know, it's a lot of work goes on a weekly basis.
You know, Robby, you've competed in about everything and anything that rolls or turns or runs. You know, you've competed, of course, in Sprint Cup, Nationwide Series, Indy cars. You've been a winner at the 24 Hours of Daytona in the GTS class, off-road trucks. But the unique thing, you've won in every single one of them. You've never raced anything and wasn't a winner in it.
Well, you know, that's one thing that is true. You know, our best finish with the Cup car under our umbrella is second. And I'd like to win a race as a team owner. So we're working really hard. Having 2 cars in the show this weekend is going to help us, because PJ is going to go in one direction with the setup. I'm going to go in another one tomorrow. and kind of play off each other like a two-car team does do.
Back in May, Bruton Smith made an announcement about the $20 million deal, and you're one of the guys who's done this, who's ran Indy. You've had a chance to win the Indianapolis 500. You've run well enough to win a Coca-Cola 600. I mean, a stock car racing. You know, does that $20 million being dangled out there make Robby Gordon think about going back to Indy?
Well, you know, it's he can dangle it out there, but if the times don't work, it doesn't matter. So I think, you know, obviously the IRL and NASCAR would have to work on what the time schedules would look like. Right now, today, you know, we used to be able to do it, but Indy was on Central Time. Now they went on daylight savings, so they're on the same time as Charlotte. So he lost an hour there, and then I think they moved the race back 1 or 2 hours. So it would make it very difficult time-wise just to be able to do it.
Yeah, in 2004, they had a little rain delay at Indy, and you actually had to hand your Indy car over to someone else where you could make it back to Charlotte.
Exactly, and you know, I think if you're going to do it, you gotta be able to race both races. So you know, if the opportunity comes up, I am getting a little older now. I'm 41 years old, and I think I could do it, but it would take a lot of preparation, and it would be something that would have to start probably in November, December. And we were in that direction this year. We were going to run the Indy 500, and then Monster decided at the end of the day that that's not what they wanted to do, and we didn't do the Indy 500.
You know, I know you're an engineer. You love to build trick pieces. What was that word you told me?
I'm not an engineer.
Well,
I'm an Imagineer.
You built, was it widgets? Widgets. So you build widgets and you build all these trick things for your trucks and your cars, but then you get busted at Darlington for wood in the door. Now, that's not very creative.
Well, I mean, that one, I must be honest, I was hanging around with the two of you guys, and I remember hearing in the old days, you guys used to put wood in the doors, and I said, you know, shit, these guys, you know, 30 years ago, they were on it, man. They were putting wood in the door. We should do that. And I did ask about it, and we were probably all good until I made some really nice water jet brackets and welded them to the chassis. And that's where they docked us the points on it. But, you know, it wouldn't have helped us anything until we would have hit the wall. If you hit the wall like everybody does at Darlington, it would have just bounced off a little bit and not knocked the toe out. And it wouldn't have been a big deal. But we do think outside the box for sure.
Robby, you know, in this in this world, we kind of have blinders on. You know, we look at NASCAR as, you know, pretty much the end-all, be-all. But I'm curious about the off-road racing because, you know, to go to Baja, that is a big deal in that world, in that part of motorsports.
It's just different. You know, I think one of the things that drives me to the off-road stuff and even the monster truck stuff right now, I don't know if you guys know, we built a monster truck, and we've been playing with this thing. We're getting it to, we might be at the bottom of the black here, but we got to be able to fly this tent without getting knocked out. And a couple of my buddies have already been knocked out in the truck, so it rattles them pretty hard when it lands.
Wow.
And if we get this thing where we can jump this tent, we're going to go after Gravedigger.
Hey, Daryl can drive for you. He's been in.
I drove a monster truck in Eldora. Did you see it?
Now, I did watch this, okay, and I'm sorry to say, Daryl, I'm a big fan of yours. You idled a monster. There's a big difference between driving and idling.
I didn't want to knock myself out, brother.
Was there a no parking sign there?
Oh, I hit that throttle one time. I said, uh-oh.
There's nothing like 2,000 horsepower.
Oh, my God.
I mean, it's a lot of fun.
It's like sitting on top of the Empire State Building, and then you hit that 1,000, 1,500 horsepower, and that thing goes, oh! I said, no.
I just got to grab her by the reins and whip her a little bit, and she'd come back into play.
Yeah.
Okey-doke. Hey, Robby, thanks a lot, man.
Yeah,
Good
hey,
luck,
thanks.
buddy.
You know, anybody that hasn't seen the monster truck stuff or the off-road stuff, they can go to speedfactory.tv and check it out. We've got some really cool shows on there showing some behind-the-scenes stuff. I think Daryl would even like it.
I think I'd drive yours. I think I was driving a little edgy.
Well, we have the jump set up right behind the back of the NASCAR shop. And so, you know, after about 6 o'clock, you know, I can never fire this thing up during the day because work will just stop. Everybody goes to the back, wants to see how far we're going to jump this thing. But you want to come over, it's not too far away. You can take it for a
It
fly.
sounds like an invitation.
Yeah, I'll put that in my GPS, and I'll be right over.
Yeah, most important thing is we still got Sonoma to win this weekend.
Attaboy.
And
Go ahead,
that is
yeah.
our goal.